So I'm very happy to be at the Fundación Tapies, and in Barcelona. I haven't been to Barcelona for some years, and it's a great town. I'm especially happy that I was invited to read Empty Words of John Cage for the John Cage events here this week. I knew John pretty well when I was a young composer in New York in the 70s. He was there too, and he was very interested in the young composers, much more generous than most older composers. He used to come to our concerts and ask us questions and give us his opinions. We appreciated that very much, especially because we were Americans mostly, and you know, our image of a good composer was Charles Ives, Henry Cowell, Conlon Nancarrow, Harry Partch, the rugged individual, the American composer who had no interest in European tradition, wanted to start off in the new world with a new kind of music. So of course, John Cage was exactly this kind of a model, and we all loved him. And it was great that he was interested in us too. We all became minimalists. It was different than his aesthetic, really, but we had many things in common. Of course, John did so many different kinds of things. He did happenings, he did theater, he worked with dancers, he did paintings, he did all kinds of things, lectures and poetry and text, but he was basically a composer, and I think all of his best works are pure music. The sonatas and interludes, oratorio, and the number pieces at the end of his life, and many other pieces of pure music that were his work. One of the categories that has been neglected, particularly since his death, is the poetry, the text. Because John used to do these readings, they were never very popular, and the audiences were never very large, because this was tough music. There was nothing to look at, no instruments. He was all alone, just saying these words and semi-words and phonemes. And he did a lot of things with the text of James Joyce, where he would fragment just little pieces of James Joyce and put that together in a text that was even less comprehensible than Finnegan's Wake when it was already pretty difficult. But he loved Joyce, and he loved Henry David Thoreau. It was the journals of Henry David Thoreau which are the source for Empty Words. Thoreau wrote about 10 volumes of diaries, his personal journal. They've all been published after his death. They were never intended to be published by him during his lifetime, but later they're published, and all it is just nature notes. He used to take long walks in the woods in Massachusetts where he lived, and he loved to look at the flowers and talk about the seasons and how it rained last week, and this particular plant came into blossom all of a sudden this morning, and things like this. But there is philosophical message all this time too, almost the religion of nature. John Cage understood this perfectly well because he lived also in Stony Point in New York, where he used to walk all the time in the woods, and he was a mushroom specialist, and he knew all the plants, and he loved and when he wasn't walking in the woods, he was reading the journals of Henry David Thoreau and walking in the woods with him. So that's what I'm going to read tonight. I'm happy to do it because since John died, very few people do these readings, but it's a very important aspect of his work, and I think I do it okay, not as well as John did, but I do my best, and at least keep this work alive and continuing.